I'm Lauren.
And I'm Callie.
And this is the Book Common Room podcast. Welcome back to the Book Common Room podcast. We're so glad that you guys are here with us for our July episode. We're going to be doing things a little differently today.
Yes. I'm very excited.
Yes. So, instead of it being about a book this month, like we usually do, like in a book club setting, we're kind of going to take things back and start back at the roots of why we started this, what this was for.
We started this a year ago.
Yes.
It's so weird we made it a year.
Yeah, we were consistent. Were we great at marketing and engaging with you guys? We could do better.
We could still do better. We're doing better than we were.
Yes. So that's what this episode is about, engaging with you guys more, with our audience. Because I do think, most people that listen to this podcast, enjoy reading or want to get into reading more. But I think it's just, I don't have enough time. I'm super busy. And it's, so true. So this is kind of for all the people out there, that want to read. We're going to be kind of discussing that because we got a lot of really good feedback.
We got some great comments.
Yes. Should we just, start from the beginning, then?
Let's talk about what we've been reading this month first.
Oh,
We're going to do our usual.
I have been in reading slump.
Girl, same. I read one book and half of another.
Yeah. Sorry, I do accents a lot. But, yeah, I've been in a reading slump. I have picked up quite a few books, and I haven't been able to finish a single one.
Girl, same.
So, I don't know what the deal is. Yeah. I read, articles online. But if you guys are in a reading slump, too, that's where we are.
I know. I was watching, there's a YouTube book people. They call it BookTube. But they also do podcasts. It's kind of like a mix of the two.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know if you've ever seen videos like this, but it's what I read last month, and then my TBR, and they'll have read 11 books.
In the month?
In the month.
Oh, you're
and
so
I
right.
was I feel like a lot of people are I just can't read that much. That's crazy. We're the people that just don't read that much. And it's okay. You can still love literature without having to read 10 books a month.
Yeah, or you don't have to be the person that's I read 100 books this year. Which, if you are, that is amazing. Way to go.
Hats off, man. That's awesome.
But if you're not, it's you just have to think about what reading is for you. Mm-hmm. And if it becomes the goal of how many books you read is guiding your reading experience, you're gonna burn out and you're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, it's true.
So you just gotta read because you like reading, and when you read, that's great. And if you haven't read in a long time, that's fine. Mm-hmm. We have a friend that they read a book and it takes them a year sometimes.
Yeah, which is totally
fine.
And
they like to take their time with it.
Yeah.
Because reading helps them slow down. And that's what they use it for. So I think...
They also read complicated books.
Yes, they
If
do.
it's the person I'm thinking of, they read complicated books.
Yes. Yes. Maybe. We might be thinking of a different person.
That's okay.
But there are people out there that's how they do their reading experiences. So...
Yeah. But, so this month, I really only completed one book. It was V.E. Schwab's newest book. She wrote Addie LaRue.
Yes.
And,
The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
So she wrote a new book called Bury My Bones in the Midnight Soil. Shoot, something like that. We'll put the cover up somewhere on the screen. And she's my automatic buy author. If she releases something, I buy it and I read it. And it's it's not the sequel to Addie LaRue, but it takes place in the same world, which is fun. So, there are little cameos in there from Addie LaRue, if you read that book. And it's marketed as a toxic lesbian vampire book. And honestly, I loved it. I loved the toxic, one of my favorite parts of it, without getting into spoilers, is the villain of the story. You get their point of view. And so, you fully sympathize with this person, and, I kind of love her. But she's the villain. So, she's bad. So that's where the toxic part comes in.
Okay.
And I highly recommend. I really liked it. I thought My only critique is Charlotte's point of view. There's 3 point of views. Charlotte's point of view was a little boring. That was kind of long. But other than that, I thought it was awesome.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, so basically, if that's your thing, I think you would really love it.
Yeah.
I thought V.E. Schwab, I just love her writing style. It's just so good. And she just writes such good characters. It's just up my alley.
It's your thing.
Yeah, even the books where she's written a couple stuff where I was like, this is not my favorite. But I still really enjoyed them. So, yes.
Is it like because her characters are good?
Because of her characters. Her characters are just so good. And then I also started The Road.
Cormac McCarthy.
By Cormac McCarthy. Because, if I'm being honest, the one real reason is The Last of Us, the video game, is loosely based on this.
No way.
Oh, because it's about a guy in a
post-apocalyptic world. In an apocalyptic world. Yeah.
And they're traveling.
Because they're literally on the road.
They're on the road.
It's like the story isn't around a setting; it's around their voices.
And I'm really liking it.
I need to read more of his stuff. I really want to read Blood Meridian. But I've only read All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah.
Some people think it's really boring, but I loved it.
See, it's kind of boring. See, The Road is honestly a little boring, but I'm loving it still. Like, his writing style is just so compelling.
I was going to say, his writing is just enjoyable for me.
It is.
Like, when I read it, I don't know.
And I like the having, like, a father is... I haven't read anything where it's, like, the father's, like, one of the main things about it. And just his son. And, like, he's just worried about keeping his son alive. Like, that aspect of it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
I do love Cormac McCarthy. I also feel like I'm biased because I had to write, like, a biography on him for, like, a class.
That's cool.
And he's just, you know, you gotta take the good with the bad. As with any author.
Yeah.
And decide, like, how that works with you. But he's the type of guy that when he writes, he kind of gives Hemingway vibes where, you know, okay, and that's actually really hard to say too because Hemingway lies. But they just feel like they live, like they have, like there's things that they write that you're like, oh, they probably lived that experience. Yeah. And so I kind of like that about him is that he is kind of an on-the-road dude. Like, he's known what that life is like, where he would just, like, carry a light bulb around because he'd be in, like, crappy motels that didn't have lights. So he'd just bring a light bulb, and then he would write.
That's cool.
And, like, so he would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's cool. That's cool. So, The Road, V. Schwab, I have nothing to show you.
It's okay.
Nothing.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
I've been busy, I guess, like anybody else, though. We're all busy. But... yeah, I've been reading articles. Shout out to Coffee with Keats.
Shout out to them.
Your stuff. Yeah.
I love it.
Love his thoughts. Anyways, very cool. So that's what we're reading. That's what we're up to. We're curious what you guys are doing for the month of July. Like, did you take a break? Because, I mean, we read Lord of the Rings and Hunger Games and Dune. Yeah. So we read some beefy, long stuff. And so if you needed a break, that's totally understandable.
Yes.
But the following content is gathered from comments that you guys have given us based off of questions we've left either through, like, our Instagram or, like, through questions we've sent directly to people because we just wanted to get their take on reading, their experience with reading, and, like, the impact of reading, I guess. So, yeah.
I love it.
Cool. So, first question, why do you read?
Why do you read?
Why do you read?
Should we play? So the other thing we got is we asked the questions on Instagram, but then we reached out to a couple of close friends of ours.
Yeah.
So one of them, she just wrote in written response, and then the other one, she actually sent me a little video. And I haven't watched the whole thing yet, because I kind of wanted to have, like, a raw reaction.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if after each question, we read it out, and then we could watch Dana's response to the first one.
Cool.
And then we could, like, read the rest. Does that work?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Go for it.
And then I can send this video to you, so you could, like, we could show her cute face.
We'll pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, she is amazing. She has her own business, now that we're talking about her.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to her business called brainbuilderscience.com that you can go check out. And it's super great, especially if you homeschool your kids or you just want to have a more active part in your child's learning. And it makes science and like kids like milestones as they grow up. They kind of like align. And Dana, if I'm not advertising this well, that's okay. Because this is not paid advertisement.
I was looking through one of them, and they're awesome. It just kind of seems like something fun. I was also thinking it'd be cool if like you want to keep your kids like over the summer, give them a little something to do, but I think she mostly markets it towards homeschoolers.
Yeah.
But she like got her degree in like science education. She's super smart.
Yeah, she did biology.
So she's definitely someone you could like trust.
Yeah.
To like use this. Yeah.
It's evidence-based.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry too much about that. And like, yeah, there's usually like these hands-on activities. You explore, there's instructions, simple explanations.
Yeah, they're very easy to use.
Very easy to use, user-friendly. And anyways, yeah, we want to hype her
Shout
business
out
up
to
because
her.
It's really cool.
It is super cool.
Just because it makes learning and play like, well, I guess like...
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah, we'll link it in the description, but it's like learning through playing.
Yeah.
And I just know that if I had more of that if I was a kid, I definitely would have enjoyed my science classes a little bit more.
100%.
So.
Okay, so let's see here. I think she has a little intro. She like introduces herself.
Oh, very
I saw
cool.
that part. Okay, we can watch this.
Okay, I'm super excited to be here and to join the podcast with Callie and Lauren. So they sent me a bunch of questions to answer about reading, and I've been thinking about them the past couple days. So the first one was, why do I read? So I read because I love to learn about different people's perspectives, whether or not that's like from a character's perspective in a story, or I read a lot of self-help informational books as well. And I feel like I learn so much about the world and so many new perspectives. And I'm grateful for those perspectives that I wouldn't have experience with in other scenarios. I think reading can help us develop a sense of empathy and gain different perspective for the world around us. So I think it helps us become smarter, I think. And I think there's lots of benefits to reading. I don't know. I like to read because it helps me bond with other people. And like, I think we share a sense of community when we read too. Like I love to read books with my husband, Braden, and we discuss them together. And I think we both are able to grow closer together through that experience and to share different perspectives on what we feel the message of the book is and what lessons we can learn from it without having to actually experience it ourselves. We can learn life lessons deeply through books. And it also is just really entertaining. It can be enveloped into a scenario, a situation where you can just kind of step into some place and learn. And then with self-help books, I really like them because they provide me perspective on my life and how I can change my life moving forward. Like I recently read The Anxious Generation, all about Gen Z and the effects on social media and the brain. And I learned so much about how I can best prepare like my kids to be prepared from the effects that social media can have detrimental on the adolescent brain. And it also teaches me how to deal with people who have grown up in those situations or have had anxiety and depression through social media. Like I learned all about that, and it was really eye-opening and very neat experience. And then I read a book about how to help your baby sleep. And that was really insightful because, like, sometimes you just are dying and you really need to sleep. And you need to find all the resources you can on that. But beyond, like, informational books, self-help ones, ones with narrative and story can really help us develop empathy, I think. Also, I like to read because well, I joined a book club a couple years ago, right after my daughter was born, and it really helped me get outside of the comfort and confinement of home, especially with a newborn. You kind of need to have those interactions with other people to feel like a sane person. And I hadn't read in a long time before I started the book club, and then the community that I got from being able to go every month and share our experiences reading the book and share how we felt and what we liked and what we didn't like and what was frustrating. Talking about those experiences in a group of, like, a kind community can help us, I think, get through our own struggles without having to be as vulnerable as we would be if we're talking about, like, our own daily struggles. But by talking about a fictional character's struggles, then we can kind of learn from those without actually having to be vulnerable ourselves. So I really liked that part, and I really enjoyed doing it as a sense of community.
My favorite part of her response was the empathy part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like just her as a person, she's so smart.
Oh, yeah.
So it is kind of, so knowing her, she would definitely love, like, the self-help and just all the different books to, like, make you educational, knowledgeable. But I also love how she highlighted that fiction can also be helpful because it helps us with empathy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will think, when they hear that, oh, you just read fiction books and fantasy books, like, that's not real reading.
Yeah.
You're not learning anything. I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah.
But I think that the empathy part's a big part of it.
Yeah. And I think narrative in general can also be, like, memoirs and, like, things like that are very... I've read a few memoirs, and I think they're so cool, like Joan Didion or Hemingway, and, like, those are, like, more nonfiction, but it's just beautiful writing, and it's just someone else's experience put in a different way. And that's, I don't know. It's so funny that people are like, real reading. What is real reading?
Right?
Like, that's just silly.
That's silly.
So that was Dana's response. And then did you want to go into Kelsey's or?
Yeah. So then the other friend that we asked who just gave us a written response, she said that a lot of people read for escape, and I feel that if I'm ever stressed or having a bad day, a book allows me to forget that for a moment, and instead I get to feel something whimsical and emotional that can motivate me. It's a way I can process my reality in a unique way. And I like that, because I definitely do that.
Yeah.
I am such a mood reader, and I have noticed that I'll read books where, like, if I'm feeling stressed and I need to escape, I'll do that. Or if I need something where I'm feeling so emotional and I don't know how to process my emotions, I'll read something super emotional so I can, like, get it out, if that makes sense.
Cleansing.
Yeah, and then I, like, even though it's, like, more emotion on top of emotion, for whatever reason, it works.
Well, because you're looking for a friend to kind of sit with, and books can do that for you. That's so crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that comment that she made. Sometimes I think a lot of people do it to escape reality. But I saw this quote the other day. Oh, okay, found it. Okay. Woohoo! Coffee with Keats, he comes back.
You're coming back.
I really like your stuff. So that's just shout out to you.
Okay.
He had this post called Re-Enchanting the World, and, like, talking about, like, walking songs and, like, magic spells, and I think it's a lot of it is, like, pulling from Tolkien. But what he says is that the veil of familiarity, or, like, the humdrum of the day-to-day, is the illusion, and any sense of escapism that we experience in reading great stories is a flight toward, not away from, reality. The strange illuminative feeling of enchantment that I experienced when reciting Bilbo's walking song all those years ago was effectual because it reminded me of who and where I really was.
Wait, I love that. It's like old Japanese haikus. So the romanticism never made it to Japan, but they had kind of like their own version of it. And they always made little haikus about walking and nature to like ground themselves and bring them back to reality. So that's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna make sure we link his Substack art, like writing, I guess, like
so you could read it.
So you can read it.
Great.
But that's where the quote, like, he's pulling from Tolkien, but then he's like doing his own analysis of like what Tolkien meant, because he's talking about how he experiences like escapism in reading, but how instead of it taking us away from our reality, like you're wanting to like get away from the day, like you read because you don't want to feel the things you're feeling in reality, but in the book it's actually like moving you closer to reality. At least that's Tolkien's take in this guy's experience.
I agree.
So anyways, I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Go Kelsey. The other comments that we have with regards to like, why do you read? I think it's just fun to think about, because I feel like sometimes I don't articulate it in words. But we just got a lot of anonymous feedback. And so
follow us on Instagram. That's where we got these.
On Instagram, yeah. And so one of the comments was, I read for a few reasons. Escapism is a big one for me, but also inspires my creativity. So that's one of the responses. To do something healthier with my brain.
LOL is written in there.
LOL was another
I kind of love that. I've done that before. I've been doom scrolling and just been like, ugh, what am I doing with my brain? This is such a waste.
I hate it so much. Like, it's so easy to spend 2 hours of time that you needed for something else.
Like reading.
To doom scroll. So sometimes I wonder when we're like, we just don't have enough time. Because I think reading really can be like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like nonfiction or a classic, it's just like, even if it's like a graphic novel, it takes like brain work. And sometimes you just want to sit down and like brain rot, but then you do it for like so long. So,
and then it just feels worse.
Yeah. So I like how it's like to do something a little bit healthier.
I love that.
Another person said it is a great way for me to slow down and relax.
Love it.
I do think reading does that. I do think it helps.
Oh yeah, if I'm feeling so overwhelmed and anxious, reading just pulls me out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. It's a good way to, like slow down time a little bit. Someone else said they read because it expands their mind.
Love it.
They read mostly fiction.
Good.
And so I just want to, that's a little shout out, because yes, fiction can expand your mind.
It
because
can.
It's like what Dana said, but it's like it's experiences in a completely different setting, even if it's like not real. You can pull from it. Like it's real in that it exists in this book. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. Well, it's kind of like, I like how she said that it's easier to talk about something someone's going through if it's a fake person. So like if a fake character is going through anxiety or whatever, it's easier to talk about their life than your own life.
Yeah.
So
someone else said to keep my brain sharp.
Love it.
And another person said it started as a challenge from my wife, but I found genuine joy in it and haven't stopped.
I love that.
I think that's so cool.
That's cute.
Yeah. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for responding and giving your like genuine feedback on why you read. I love what people have said. Like, That's so great. Like, everyone has such different experiences of it too. Like people who are starting off, people who've been doing it for a while. But I really do feel like reading does like slow things down for me. And I also I'm like, this is better for my brain.
Yeah, I agree.
You just feel good. And then it becomes addicting, as I feel like it has for a few of these people.
Yeah, because you find you find your niche.
Yeah. This question might be a little bit repetitive, because it's like, why do you think people should read? So instead of it being just like experiential, it's like in general, like why do you think we should read? Oh man, sorry. I was like thinking about our AI tangent on our Instagram.
Oh.
like reading and
I saw
writing.
that look and I was like, what's in your dog?
I'm just thinking, I was like, oh man, like, because I think people, okay. Yeah. Like we had like a mini tangent about AI and, I definitely see the benefits of it, but when it's thinking for you and it's causing you to not read, that scares me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, no, we need to read because we need to keep our brains sharp because they're just going to turn to mush if all we do is consume and consume and consume on social media. Not saying social media is the worst. I just think
it has its perks. It has good things about it, but there's also negatives. I think, and that's one of the negatives.
Yeah. Agreed. Anyways, so the next question we kind of want to explore is why do you think people should read? Like in general, like what have people said?
Okay, let's see here. We'll start with Dana's response.
Okay, because like in the last video, she talked about
why people should read.
Yeah, like why she read and then like why. Yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, we really liked what Dana said with regards to like why people should read. She talked about it from like both her experience and like in general. But like community, like reading can like bring people closer together, and also she had mentioned empathy.
Some great stuff.
Yeah, and then Kelsey.
Okay, so then my friend Kelsey, she said, I think people should read because there is a unique power that words have. It can inform, heal, motivate, and entertain. Regardless of the genre or length of the book, I honestly believe books can change a person's perspective on many things. And I love the unique power that words can have because I am notorious. This is really bad, guys. Don't do this. This is a toxic trait I have. I get into fights with people on TikTok. So my TikTok account is completely anonymous. No one knows who I am, so I feel like this is super bad, guys. This is not a good thing. I know this, and I have gotten better. Anyways, and someone
I did not expect Callie to be like that. Actually.
Really?
No.
It's just the like. I don't even know if I if I really care about it.
If there's like an injustice, I'll hop on and be like,
yeah,
yeah. But
I have to defend myself a little. I'm never mean, but I'm not necessarily like. I totally agree with you. Anyway, so there was this one gal who she was talking about a book. I'm not going to say the book because I feel like that's a negative like thing that gets talked about a lot. Anyways, there was a book that had content that I didn't agree with. And which is subjective, right? So I had just left a comment, and one of the reasons I justified my opinion was that there is unique power that words can have. So I do think that like if you do need to be careful about what you consume because I just don't think people realize how powerful words are. And I got into a total fight with this gal on TikTok about it, and it ended really well actually. Yeah, like we were very nice at the end.
Civil.
We were very civil. It was kind of a agreed to disagree situation, but like we were both very civil. Anyways, but I don't know. I just like that because it's so true. I think that's a huge reason why people should read and really consider what they're reading.
Yeah. I really enjoy when a book does change my perspective, just because I feel like I get a little wrinkle in my brain, even though that's not actually how it works. But I do. I feel like I'm like, man, I'm growing as a human.
Look at me.
I also like what she had said about unique power with words, and specifically, I'm thinking, and I brought it up already. Joan Didion's memoir. I can't remember what it's called. I wish I could write like her. She just puts things like, you know, when someone can just put what you think onto paper in a much better way than you, and then it just captures everything that you were thinking, but you couldn't like organize. She did that, and it was for something that I haven't really like had experience with, but it was about her husband, because her husband like suddenly died.
Sad.
I need to give more context because I was a little bit more fresh on this like 2 years ago when I read it, and now I'm like, man, I've forgotten a lot of stuff. But what was really moving was like she lost him so quickly, so her grief just is like so fresh, and so her writing was interesting because she was like, I keep wanting to talk to you about it. Like she wants, like, this is something I would talk to John about, because she's just always thinking about his death, and I think his name is John. That was just so touching to me. Yeah. Like, like she's thinking about something and she wants to talk to someone about it, and immediately she wants to go to her husband, but her husband's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so like, and I was just like, and I'm sure people have written that down before, but when she wrote that, like, it was just so powerful to me because I was like, oh, like, she's just so honest, and she has a way with her words that just reach me in a really cool way and helps like me with like my own perspectives of death. So
that's why I love authors like James Baldwin, who writes about experiences that I will never experience, because he normally writes about Black men.
Yeah, or just the Black community. And then the queer community, which I fall under neither, obviously. And I love being able to read from different perspectives like that then just kind of like orientate myself and like get myself to think outside of my own world and community. Yeah. So, but yeah. Yeah,
and he's very like authentic and honest.
He's so good with his words. Other comments were we can hone certain things about ourselves with the book, imagination most of all, and I really liked that. Another person said it is much better than screen time, and it is fun to be immersed in a story.
Fair. Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
Man, if we could advertise reading, it really is. Like, it's like, what is it, Blue's Clues, when they like jump into the book? As a kid, I was like, I wish I could do that. But it's so true. Like, it's so immersive, and it's fun to be consumed in that way when you're reading a book.
Oh yeah, the dopamine hit is much higher than doom scrolling.
No, it totally is. Except sometimes those reels that are just so funny, like
the dog ones.
Yes,
the dog ones are my favorite.
The dog ones are always so good. Or like the little kid ones.
Oh yes,
so good.
And if there's a combo,
oh great, like win-win. As another person said, I think it gives your brain time to run wild and free, and we all need that.
I love that.
Yeah, that's so good.
Let your imagination go.
Yeah, it's so important to be adults and be able to like play in that way with your imagination and like your creativity. It just, it really does give you like a dopamine burst.
It does.
Reading is a lot of things, but overall it is an exercise in mindfulness. It makes you think. I agree with that. At least the books that I like usually do that.
Yeah, same.
There are books out there that I've read that I'm like, this did not make me think.
yeah, that happens.
Another comment was, a book is a walk into a new world. It is good to get outside of ourselves. That's so true. I feel like in a world of like fast-paced content and consumption, we are so focused in on ourselves and like how we're being perceived. And then like books can help you be like, oh wait, like there's bigger experiences, a bigger world out there, and I'm a small part of it. Anyways, so that's people's responses to like general like why do you read. Now it's more about like why don't you read or read as much as you like, which I am very fascinated to know like what people have said.
Right?
Yeah,
I think Dana had already answered that question too.
Okay,
she said like life just gets busy.
Well, I think, I don't know, we always have like things going on, right? That it makes it busy. But for me, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I have a toddler, she's 2, and we have a daughter, second girl coming in just a few weeks. I'm really busy with my brain energy capacity dealing with her. And so it's easy for me to take her to the park and like put a podcast in, or I'll try to listen to books if I can, but sometimes they demand quite a bit of attention, and I have split attention with her. So I think that's the main reason why I don't read as much as I would like to. I just don't have free time. I'm doing this during her nap, and so, you know, sometimes the naps go well, sometimes they don't, and she doesn't nap, and so I don't really get a break during the day. But I think I'm a lot better when I have like accountability too. So like if I know that I have like an assignment coming up, or am in a book club and I know that the book is due, that helps me a ton to be able to read and to know that I have somebody to discuss it with. Sometimes I'm like, I like this book, but I want to talk about it with somebody, and I don't. It kind of discourages me from reading. Also, if it's very intense, like high fantasy, that intimidates me because it requires a lot of brain power to get into world building, and I prefer learning about character development and plot lines with that, and I don't love the world building as much. And so if it's high fantasy stuff, I feel a little bit deterred. But I have found recently that I enjoy some things, and my husband's been getting me more into that kind of stuff.
Life gets busy.
She's a new mom-ish. Yes.
Well, yeah.
As she mentioned, so just things get kind of crazy.
Yeah, when people are trying to grow your family, your job.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like sometimes, I don't know, yeah, life just gets busy.
It does.
Yeah, Kelsey.
Okay, she said, I got burned out from reading during college because it was a lot, and the content, although informative, felt forced, and I felt like I never had the time to process it before being shoved into the next topic. Now that I have graduated, I am slowly restructuring myself from the college style of reading, but it has been fun to fall in love with reading again and rediscovering why I love reading in the first place.
Oh, that's so
Girl,
fun.
I feel that in my bones.
Yeah, okay, school. Love school. It's great being a student.
Stay in school, ma'am.
I loved being a student, but it is true. I was reading so many books because of school, and I loved them. But whenever it was my time to be oh yeah, now I can finally read what I want, I would never read what I want because I just was so burnt out.
Yeah, I bet you if we were to go out in the general public and ask this question, a lot of people would say they fell out of reading high school time.
Because you're forced to read.
You're forced to read. We had a great high school teacher who would simulate us choosing what to read, even though we really weren't.
Shout out to Mr. Potter.
Right?
Yeah.
He would give us, it'd be like a book club. So he'd give us a whole list of things, and you would just pick out of the list. And it worked for me. I didn't get burnt out for reading at all because I felt like I was choosing what I wanted to read out of the list. But most people, it's just, okay, you're reading this now.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. You get burnt out.
Yeah, you get burnt out. And the other thing, I don't know if it's because I need to exercise my brain more, but I feel like reading takes a lot of effort for me.
Yeah.
In the sense that, if I'm sick, I'm very sick. I can watch videos on my phone.
Yeah.
But I can't read.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to read. If I'm have a cold and you're just I can read. But if I'm really sick, reading just is exhausting. And so I do think reading it's good for your brain, but it does feel like exercise sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know, that is very real.
It makes your brain feel good, but sometimes it just makes your brain feel tired.
Yeah, it really does. And sometimes the idea is you're just I gotta step away from this for a second. So the feedback that we got from people anonymously, time was a huge factor. Audiobooks saved me.
Nice.
I wish I could just sit and read, but life.
Fair.
And that's so true. I think audiobooks are a great way to immerse someone into a story when they don't have time.
Oh yeah.
Especially makes it more accessible for people. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Lack of time and energy. I'm too tired at the end of the day when I have time to read. That's so real.
Oh yeah.
There was a time where I was just working, and then I would get home at nighttime, and you have to choose either to go to bed or just chill. And when I would just chill, I couldn't read because I would fall asleep reading. And that's hard.
It is hard. I agree.
Lack of time and energy. Just a busy season of life is what another person said. I don't make time for it, but I know I could. I think that's also a true statement.
Yeah.
I think we probably do have a lot more time than we think we do to read. But it's just making it a priority. Because I know that I could have made time from my 2-hour doom scroll to sit and read the book that someone had recommended to me forever ago.
Yeah.
At least that's the case for me. I know that when I'm I just didn't have time to get to this, I'm there's some things I could replace.
Yeah.
Good, better, best.
Yeah.
Something else I'd rather do. which, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
And because, like, I mean, once you actually have the time, like, do you want to sit and read, or do you want to, like, play the video game you've been waiting to do, or check out the story that you've been, I don't know. Like, there's just things, I totally get the trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've just started reading more because I figured out how my brain works, but I have to listen and read.
Okay, I used to not, sorry, this is kind of off topic. Well, no, it's on topic, but I have never really understood, like, have been that person where I'm listening to it and reading it.
Yeah.
But for the V.E. Schwab book, I was doing both. If I had time to sit and read it, I would read it. But if I was in the car, I'd listen to it. Yeah. So I consumed it both ways. But there was one night where I think I had like 50 pages left. I had just gotten home and I was like, I have to finish this. So I sat down, but I kept the audiobook going because I liked how I liked the narrator's voice. Yeah. And I was listening to it and reading it. Whole new experience. Yeah, it totally I was really shocked. I was like, why haven't I done this before?
Yeah, that's what got me through college, because when there was one semester where I had to buy 40 books.
Dang. And that's crazy.
It was because they were genre classes and I was an idiot and took 18 credits. Don't do that.
Jeez.
But I was like, I'm going to do this. And the thing is, I have this weird thing where I cannot skim books.
Yeah.
Some people can, and it is a gift. It is a gift.
I'm a big skimmer.
Especially for test takers. I suck at tests because I have to read everything. Otherwise, I think I just have a slow brain, so it takes me a little bit to marinate. And so, like, when I have to read everything. So it's like almost like irreverent. Not like irreverent, but like sacrilegious. Or like blasphemous to not read the book. And so the only way to get through it was to listen to the audio and read, because I'd be so tired, but I'd be like, this is the only way I can get through it. And so I'm glad that person like figured out what works for them, because they were like, I haven't been doing it because like I didn't really know learning is different for each person. And so sometimes people just feel dumb, but it's because they're being taught in a way that's not conducive to like how they learn. Like maybe they're more like hands-on. Maybe they're more visual. And this person, they have to listen and read.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah. I recommend trying it. Yeah. It was a new experience.
Very cool. That's what I did with Lord of the Rings too. It was great. Not enough time. Audiobooks help, but even then it is hard to find the time. So yeah, time factor is huge.
Okay, so let's see here. Next question. In a world of fast content, why does reading still matter? We kind of already talked about this, but I'm curious what other people say.
So, yes, definitely. I think it slows us down. I think it grounds us. I think it helps us get outside of ourselves. Social media especially is developed so that the algorithm can totally hijack what you are craving and give you more of what you want. It's basically to help perpetuate this selfish mentality. And reading a book kind of does the opposite of that. It helps us expand our perspective and look beyond ourselves and see why other people might make other choices and see what we might do in those situations. And so definitely it helps ground us from something that can slow us down and help us reflect on our lives as well. Whereas fast content, I think, becomes mind numbing after like the third or fourth like thing on your scrolling page. Like your brain essentially shuts off, and then you're not consuming information in an effective way. It's just kind of coming at you passively. Whereas reading is like an active process. Even though like I personally don't have lots of time to read, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. But it still helps us, like, we have to be actively listening or actively reading, and that takes effort, whereas fast content is a lot more like brain candy, just kind of like feeds us these mind-numbing things that don't give us a ton of perspective and don't help us grow. Although there's like tons of social media accounts out there that are helpful and insightful, and there's lots of resources online. The act of reading for entertainment from a novel or for research or something like that. All of that takes a lot of brain power and energy, which is important for us to grow. So yeah, I definitely think that we need it. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
I like how she said that social media is like brain candy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that quick, short dopamine hit.
Yeah. Sugar rush.
Sugar rush, or versus reading, it is longer.
Yeah.
You have to have more patience for it, and it does take more time. But I think in the long run, this is a horrible, like, parallel analogy in my head. But I was just watching a video about Ozempic. Wait.
Oh.
Not Ozempic. What's the is that the drug loss that all the celebrities take?
The like fat loss thing?
Yeah, the fat loss that all the
Ozempic
celebrities
is that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I know someone that used it and it helped them.
It does. So this is like a horrible, because I don't care whether or not you take it, but I feel like it's almost like that versus like exercising and like eating healthy. One just takes longer than the other.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, do you just like have the patience to do one, or just like take the drug and do it super fast?
I totally get what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But like, and no like hate on Ozempic, because
Yeah.
some people like you like literally have like insulin resistance. There's a lot of things out there. So, but I like that because it's like quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
Versus actually growing.
Because I feel like one is you have to change your lifestyle to get there.
Yeah, and I don't know, but I feel like when I'm in a state of like consistent consumption, my brain and my body just crave like challenge. Like I need something to challenge me. And like reading, because it's like it's more effort and more energy. And even it takes longer to get where I want to like be in my like goals. Like it just is worth it.
Yeah.
To me. I really liked that.
Okay. Kelsey said, absolutely, reading still matters. If we truly take a minute to slow down and read and process, then I think a lot of chaos and uncertainty that can happen in a fast-paced environment can be resolved. I almost wish she was here so I could follow up. I wonder what she, like, what's being resolved. Like, stress we're feeling? Because I could totally see that.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to know more of what she thinks. You can slow down.
Yeah.
And, like, really process, like, what's going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of back to the empathy or, like, opening up your world. But also, one of the things I liked about this V.E. Schwab book is there is a character named Alice, and she has really bad social anxiety, which I totally get.
Yeah.
And I feel like reading through that perspective, a lot, like, slowing down and reading it and processing it did help resolve some, like, questions I had, like, how might other people respond to it?
Yeah.
Like, the character, one thing that she would do is she would, like, kind of like Cinderella, like, she'd almost turn into a whole new person until midnight. And then at midnight, she's back to old Alice. But until midnight, she's new Alice, and new Alice is very brave.
Interesting.
And, like, just, like, very outgoing. And so then, like, that helped her get through it. And I liked that. So I have been, since just reading it, I've been in a couple situations where I was like, okay, I'm going to almost become a new version of me that is more outgoing, and I can do this.
Yeah.
And then at the time when this ends at, like, 5 or whatever, then we can go back.
Yeah.
But then going back almost feels like, wait, I did it.
Yeah.
So, like, original me or old me is still the new me.
Yeah.
Because I did it.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
That's really cool. I love that. Other comments that were made from, like, anonymous, from people that, like, anonymously responded with regards to, like, being in a fast-paced world of content. Why is reading still important? Or, like, why does it matter? And they had said it's a chance to slow down, similar to what Kelsey is saying, and Dana, and make your brain do work. And then, yeah, that's most of the responses. It just helps them slow way down, brings you back to, like someone said, it brings me back to reality.
Oh, yeah.
like somehow,
like what Tolkien said.
Yeah, like somehow the book is like bringing them more to reality than like social media, which I like because I feel like books, something that Dana had said was like books do the opposite of what like social media and like just like internet does, where it's like catering to like your desires and what you're wanting, whereas reading a book you're forced to confront things, so like things you may not agree with, different perspectives, different voices, different worlds, and so somehow it grounds you better, which is interesting. That's like a paradox,
right? Well, that goes right into the next comment. It forces you to slow down and spend time with yourself. It's intimate.
I love that.
Which I think is awesome. Comment. Like, it is an intimate thing to read a book. Because kind of back what Dana said before, how you can, in like a book club setting, you can talk about something like anxiety, and you don't want to talk about yourself, but you can talk about the character.
Yeah.
It's still like personally very intimate with yourself. You have to like open your mind to be able to take in this new world, this new perspective, process it, and slow down with it. So it is. I like that. So like I could see when I finish The Road that it'll be one of those where I'm going to finish it and then I stare at the wall. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm still thinking about it. It just happens.
Yeah, I love that so much. And then the last comment they said was, or this person said, I feel like there is something kinetic about holding a book and reading. Which I think it's true. Like, you're on your phone, you're on the internet, it's not tangible. But if you're holding a book, which I guess this is different for like people like who tend to like lean into audiobooks. I know that that's different, but I mean, like, you're still getting the story just in through a different medium, but there's something grounding when you have a book in your hand and it's just you in the book, and it's like what that other comment said, it's intimate, and whereas you're just holding your phone and there's nothing to really connect with, I feel like. Not saying that social media doesn't have like incredible benefits for people needing community, especially like people that are like more isolated, but just in general, like reading still matters, especially like in a fast-paced world, because it has the ability to root you a little bit more to your reality.
Oh yeah, well, I love when you find a character that you can fully relate to, and it grounds you. I think they're, like, using the word kinetic is interesting in this comment. Because when I think of kinetic, I think of, like, physics, like kinetic energy. When, like, it's like the energy of something moving, right? That's the kinetic energy.
That's what I think of, too.
And so I think, I don't know, I kind of like that verbiage where...
Movement.
Like, you have to move with the book. Like, you have to write down in the book with it. And there's this, like, there's a process with reading, which can be hard, especially, like... I feel like certain books, there's more kinetic energy that is spent reading it.
But... Throw the book. Pick the book back up. Read it anyways.
Literally.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. It's an action. You're not just consuming it like you would on your phone. Because Dana said this. It's like you're almost being acted upon, if that makes any sense. Like
with social media.
With social media, yeah. Oh, what's a better way to say that? Like, with social media, it's consuming you versus when you're reading, you're consuming it. And it's like, it just feels like it's more...
You meet the book in a, like, you meet it. There's like a meeting moment instead of just like mindless acceptance. I don't know.
Which is why, again, kind of back to AI, I think a world with AI that's taking over the humanities is scary.
Yeah.
And Hayao Miyazaki saying that it's the death of, what is it? The
Arts?
Death of humanity? I think he says it's like the death of humanity.
Yeah, because whole tangent. We already like have discussed this on Instagram, and it'll be like a continual topic. But like it removes thinking and writing and reading, and like those are things like I totally get when you have a deadline and you're like, hey, hit ChatGPT, summarize this 60-page article I don't have time to read. Like,
it's a great tool.
It is a great tool. But you cannot let it be like your consistent crutch.
Yeah.
Because then you and I feel like your body and your brain usually tell you, because obviously from these people, like your brain feels good when you read. Like it's like what you said, it's like you have to meet the book, and so you have power over like what you're bringing in, like what you're consuming, versus social media, where I feel like you're just letting it in. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That makes
I
sense.
feel like we're missing the vocab word, and maybe it is just kinetic. But I like that.
Tangible.
Yes.
Yeah, kinetic is like
That's also why
movement.
I like reading physical books.
And I really
Versus,
do
like,
love having a pen when I read. Even
Me
if it's like
too.
fiction. Like when like I saw you doing that with your fiction books, I was like, whoa. Like I don't do it with fiction. Well, or like
Fantasy.
like books I've chosen to read.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I would do it with the books that I'm like engaging with for school. And then I was like, but my comments in those kinds of books would be like, LOL. Or like, they won't be like,
I love those type of comments.
But then the thing is like, but then I'm like, oh, but I like that. Because then when you're reading your books, I like going through those notes again. Because it's you're remembering how you experienced it the first time.
Well, it's kind of like with what I was saying before about Cormac McCarthy and his introducing his probably only female character in the whole book. But it's one of those comments where I think I just went, ha ha, this was definitely written in the 90s by a man. And it's just kind of funny because it captures like what I was feeling at the time when I was reading it. Mm-hmm. So maybe in 10 years if I reread this, it's almost like a journal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. Anyways, those are the questions that we gathered and the voices that we gathered. And then hopefully we can get some more content out there based on other people's experiences with reading that you can hear from.
Yeah, if you liked any of these questions and you want to leave your answer in the comments below, go for it. We would love it.
Or expand on, like, maybe there was something we didn't really understand they were saying and you were like, oh, I think this is what they were talking about. Feel free to expand on that.
We want to hear all the thoughts.
Yeah.
But I love doing this. This was fun.
Yeah,
we should just do this every year.
Yeah, maybe this is like an annual like check-in of like what we want this podcast to be. And I feel like we're constantly fine-tuning it because it is a broad thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Like we do have like a specific kind of audience that are like responsive to this, but it really is for everybody.
Yeah. Because
I think reading is for everybody.
I would love to listen to something like this. Even though I'm an avid reader, I would still like to listen to it.
Yeah. And it's like a book club. So you just can enjoy, like, I don't expect you guys to read every book every month with us. Like, maybe there's like a book where you're like, oh, I've been wanting to read that. Or like, oh, that's a scary book. But if like they're doing it, maybe they can help walk me through it. Yeah. Like, I think that's kind of what this podcast and this space is. Like we do want it to be a space where where something so polarizing as books and like some of the controversial books that are out there.
Apparently we're number 30 on controversial literature?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
I'm like, why?
But I think literature is inherently controversial. There's like it's inherently something that people are gonna discuss and talk about.
There's controversy around.
There is, but I feel like we need positive spaces.
Yeah.
Because the conversation's important.
Because also there's too many negative spaces.
Yeah.
With regards to book culture. Yes. And like literature.
Like book talk, like the people on TikTok that talk about books, it's toxic over there.
Yeah, and I think it's because
there are some good nuggets.
Yeah.
But it's mostly pretty toxic.
But I think we're just looking for a place where you can learn to love to read, or the times that you finally feel like you have time to read, you can join us.
And we want to celebrate it.
Yeah, and we just love talking about books, and
at the root of it, that's what it is.
Yeah, we just love talking about them, and it's helped me. Like,
same.
I wouldn't have read Dune.
No.
If we didn't have this podcast. I wouldn't have, there's things that I feel like have made me branch out that I've really enjoyed. So, please engage with us through your comments on books you would like us to cover, or your comments on the impact of reading.
Or an author or a topic.
Yeah.
Like if there's a specific topic surrounding literature that you want us to discuss, we could totally do that too.
Yeah, totally. But we're super excited for the books coming up for the rest of this year. It's kind of like our midpoint of the year. And then, and we're super pumped for next year. So
I know. Our next episode's going to be way fun.
yes.
We're going to have a little special guest.
Yes.
So get ready for that.
Yes.
I'm super excited.
We have a special guest. And hopefully it is a little bit more engaging for you because it comes from not just like an audience member, but someone that might be experiencing similar things that we've been talking about.
We want to get a new perspective.
Yeah. So anyways.
We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.